She was invisible. That was the point. Ada of Mensa moved through the Kong estate like smoke. 3 weeks of pressed uniforms. 3 weeks of lowered eyes. 3 weeks of yes, sir, and of course, sir, and becoming so unremarkable that the security team stopped tracking her movements on the cameras. Amateurs. The estate in Songnam sprawled across 2 acres of manicured silence. Traditional Korean architecture hiding military-grade security. Motion sensors she recognized from black sites. Countermeasures that shouldn't exist in a private home. Kang Dae-ho was not a normal businessman. She'd known that before she took the job. The Stone King, they called him. A man who built an intelligence empire through calculated brutality and iron control. His reputation preceded him like a blade. She didn't care about his reputation. She cared about disappearing. And the Kong estate was the last place anyone would look for a ghost. The boy changed everything. Yun was 8 years old. Dark hair that fell across his eyes. Hands that never stopped moving, fidgeting, drawing, tracing patterns only he understood. He hadn't spoken above a whisper in 2 years. Ada learned this from the household files. Learned about the accident, the car, the mother who didn't survive, the boy who stopped talking the same night. She learned it from files. She understood it from watching him. If you're still here, you already know what kind of story this is. The dangerous kind, the consuming kind. Subscribe now. You won't want to miss what happens next. The garden was empty at 4 p.m. Yin sat on the stone bench, folding paper, origami cranes, dozens of them scattered at his feet like fallen prayers. Ada should have walked past, should have maintained her cover, should have remained invisible. The boy's hands were shaking. She stopped. "That fold," she said quietly, crouching to his level. "You're forcing it. Paper doesn't respond to force." Yin looked up. His eyes were his father's, dark, watchful, expecting nothing. "May I?" He hesitated, then held out the paper. Ada's fingers moved with practiced ease. When something resists you, you don't fight it. You find where it wants to bend. She creased the wing. You work with the material, not against it. Yin watched, didn't speak, but his hands had stopped shaking. She placed a finished crane in his palm. "Same with people," she said. "Same with everything." The lessons started the next day. Not origami. Ada told herself it was about giving the boy control, about teaching him to trust his body again, about the confidence that came from knowing you could protect yourself. She told herself a lot of things. When someone tries to restrict your movement, she guided his small hand, showing him the rotation. You don't fight their strength. You use their momentum. You redirect. Yun's brow furrowed in concentration. The attacker expects resistance, gives them something to push against. But if you're not there, she demonstrated the slip, the pivot. They stumble. They're off balance. And you're already gone. The movement was clean, professional, the kind of training that took years to learn and longer to forget. Yun tried the rotation. Clumsy, but correct. Good. Ada reset his stance. If they're larger than you, you find leverage. Focus on their balance. Everyone has a weakness. They drilled for an hour. 2. At the end, covered in garden dirt, Yin looked up at her and laughed. The sound cracked something in her chest. Bright. Unexpected. The laugh of a child who'd forgotten he knew how. Ada smiled. Actually smiled. Good. Same time tomorrow. Yin nodded, still grinning. She hadn't slept through the night in 2 years. Somewhere in the back of her mind, she knew that would change. That eventually she would sleep deeply, peacefully. She didn't know yet that it would be in his bed. Safe enough to dream. She felt him before she saw him. The air in the garden shifted, temperature dropping 3 degrees. The particular stillness that preceded a predator. Ada didn't turn, kept her eyes on Yun, who was practicing the pivot she'd taught him. Again, she said calmly. Smoother this time. Don't telegraph. He's not going to telegraph. The voice came from behind her. Low, controlled, soft in a way that made it worse. Kang Dae-ho stood at the garden entrance. He was taller than the photograph suggested. Broader. The silver at his temples caught the fading sunlight. His suit was immaculate, dark fabric that absorbed light, no tie, top button open. His eyes missed nothing. Mr. Kong. Ada rose smoothly. I wasn't expecting you until... Clearly, silence stretched between them. Yin had frozen, the laughter evaporating from his face. He looked between them like a child expecting the world to crack open again. Daeho's gaze moved to his son. Something flickered there. Pain, longing, the desperate hope of a man who'd spent 2 years trying to reach a boy who kept slipping away. Yin. His voice gentled, almost imperceptibly. Go inside. Mrs. Park has your dinner ready. Yin glanced at Ada, questioning. She nodded. Same time tomorrow. We'll work on the next sequence. The boy hesitated, then moved past his father without looking at him, disappearing into the house. Daeho watched him go. His jaw tightened. When he turned back to Ada, the softness was gone. My study. 10 minutes. He didn't wait for her response. Don't consider running. You won't get far. He walked away. Ada watched him go, calculated the distance to the perimeter, the gaps in the security rotation, the 3 separate exit strategies. She prepared for exactly this moment. She could disappear tonight, should disappear tonight, but she kept hearing Yun's laugh. His study was a tomb. Dark wood, darker leather, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city lights of Seoul. No personal photographs, no worms, just a massive desk and a man behind it, watching her like she was a problem to be solved. Close the door. She did. Seed. She didn't. Something flickered in his eyes. Interest, maybe, or irritation. With him, it was impossible to tell. Your background check came back clean. He lifted a file from his desk. Let it fall with a soft thud. Too clean. Professional-grade scrubbing. The kind that costs more than a housekeeper makes in a decade. Ada said nothing. I have people who specialize in finding things that don't want to be found. He leaned back. They found nothing, which tells me everything. Is there a question in there, Mr. Kong? Who are you? Adora Minsa, your household manager. Hired 6 weeks ago through. Try again. I don't know what you... I watched the security footage. His voice dropped. That wasn't self-defense you were teaching my son. That was tactical training. Evasion technique. Counter-assault positioning. His thumb traced the scar on his left palm. I know the difference. Ada's hand stayed loose at her sides. Relaxed. Ready. So I'll ask one more time. He rose from the desk, moved toward her with the unhurried confidence of a man who'd never been denied anything. Who are you? And what are you doing in my house? She had options. Lie. Deflect. Run. She looked at him, at the grief carved into his face, at the desperation he thought he was hiding, at the father who sat on floors doing puzzles with a silent child, who read bedtime stories to empty rooms, who was still trying after 2 years of failure. I'm a specialist, she said. High-risk protection. I worked with diplomats and executives in volatile regions until my cover was compromised. She held his gaze. I watched my entire unit die because someone I trusted sold us out. I came here to disappear. In the training, I saw a child who felt powerless. Her voice didn't waver. I didn't train him to be a soldier, Mr. Kong. I trained him to feel safe in his own skin again. Silence. Daeho studied her, those dark eyes cataloging everything. Her stance, her breathing, the steadiness of her hands. You should have told me. Would you have hired me? No. A pause. But I wouldn't have let you near my son. And now. He moved closer, close enough that she could smell cedar and something clean underneath. Close enough to see the silver threaded through black. Close enough that her training screamed threat, but her body refused to step back. Now, he said slowly, I'm deciding what to do with you. I'm not a threat to your son. No. His eyes dropped to her mouth, then back up. But you might be a threat to something else. The words hung between them. Heavy. Charged. His phone buzzed. He ignored it. She should leave. Should demand clarity. Should maintain professional distance. His phone buzzed again. You should answer that, she said. I should. He didn't move. Tomorrow. Same time. You continue the lessons. She blinked. What? You stay. Not as a housekeeper. He stepped back, put distance between them like it cost him something. As Yun's protection specialist. His guardian. He stopped. His person. And if I refuse? His thumb traced his scar again. You won't. He moved toward his desk, picked up the phone. Director Shin will arrange the paperwork. And Ms. Minsa? She waited. I see everything that happens in my house. His back was turned now. Remember that. He answered the call, dismissed her with his silence. Ada walked to the door, paused with her hand on the frame. She should run. She turned the handle instead. That night, Yun left a paper crane outside her door. Inside, in shaky handwriting, thank you. Ada held it for a long time, then placed it on her nightstand, next to the knife she kept under her pillow. She didn't sleep, but for the first time in 2 years, she wanted to. In his study, Daeho pulled up the security footage, watched her teach his son to defend himself, watched Yun laugh, watched her smile like she'd forgotten she knew how, watched himself watching her, reflected in the dark glass. His phone buzzed. Director Shin. Sir, the deep background search. Do you want us to keep digging? You should say yes. She was a risk, an unknown variable. Everything he'd built depended on controlling the variables. On the screen, Ada tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, said something that made Yun grin. No, his voice was rough. Stop the search. Sir, she stays. He ended the call, stared at the screen until it went dark. What are you doing? The question echoed in the silence. He didn't have an answer. He had a feeling that terrified him more. The new arrangement changed everything. Ada moved from the staff quarters to the family wing, a room twice the size of her previous one, with windows overlooking the garden where she trained Yun. Private bathroom, a closet already stocked with clothes that fit perfectly, simple, elegant, expensive. She didn't ask how he knew her sizes. She wasn't sure she wanted the answer. The first week was observation. His, not hers. She felt Daeho's attention like pressure against her skin. He never stared directly, never made it obvious. But she'd spent a decade learning to sense surveillance, and his focus was unmistakable. Watching her train Yun in the garden, watching her review the estate's security protocols with Director Shin, watching her navigate his world with the competence he hadn't expected. She let him watch. She had nothing to hide. Not anymore. Your Korean is excellent. Director Shin sat across from her in the security office, a cup of tea cooling between them. The woman was 50-ish, sharp-eyed, with the particular stillness of someone who'd seen everything and judged most of it wanting. I learned quickly. Fluent in 6 weeks. Shin's eyebrow rose. That's not quick. That's exceptional. Ada shrugged. Languages are survival tools. I collect them. How many? 7. 8, if you count the one I'm forgetting. Shin studied her. The judgment in her eyes shifted to something else. Respect, maybe. Or recognition. He doesn't trust easily, Shin said. The fact that you're still here means something. It means I'm useful. It means more than that. Shin stood. He stopped the background search. Ordered me to leave your past alone. She paused at the door. He's never done that before. For anyone. She left. Ada sat in the silence, turning that information over. He protected her cover, deliberately, without telling her. She didn't know what to do with that. Yun bloomed. There was no other word for it. Each day, he stood a little taller, made eye contact a little longer, started leaving the confines of his room to seek her out. He still didn't speak. Not words, but he communicated, tugging her sleeve when he wanted to show her something, pressing a paper crane in her palm when she did something that pleased him, humming, low, almost inaudible, the Nigerian lullabies she sang when she thought no one was listening. She hadn't slept through the night in 2 years. She was a ghost. Ghosts weren't supposed to stay, but she was learning that some haunted places become home. Thursday, 2 Uhr nachts. Ada woke to footsteps in the hallway. Her hand found the knife under her pillow before her eyes opened. She tracked the sound, measured, deliberate, pausing outside her door, then continuing past. She waited 30 seconds, rose silently, cracked the door. Daeho stood at the end of the hallway, outside Yun's room, his back to her, his forehead pressed against the closed door. He didn't enter, just stood there, one hand flat against the wood, like he was trying to reach through it, like he'd been standing there for hours, like he did this every night. Ada watched him for a long moment, then closed her door, let him have his grief in private. But she didn't forget. Friday, the kitchen, past midnight. She'd learned to navigate the house at night, avoid the cameras, move without waking the staff. Old habits she couldn't break. The kitchen was empty, dark, peaceful. She pulled out ingredients, rice, vegetables, spices she'd quietly requested from a shopping list. Started cooking. Jollof rice, her mother's recipe, the one she made when the world felt too heavy. The smell alone could transport her back 20 years, to Lagos, to a kitchen full of laughter, to a time before she learned that trust was a liability. That smells incredible. She didn't jump, didn't reach for a weapon. She'd heard him coming, those footsteps she'd learned to recognize in the dark. "It's late," she said without turning. "You should be asleep." "So should you." Daeho moved into the kitchen. He'd abandoned the suit jacket, sleeves rolled up, looking almost human. "What is it?" "Jollof rice. Nigerian. You're cooking Nigerian food in my Korean kitchen at midnight. Your kitchen has excellent equipment." She stirred the pot. "And I couldn't sleep. Bad dreams. No dreams at all." She finally looked at him. "That's worse." He held her gaze. Something passed between them, recognition. The understanding of people who'd forgotten how to rest. "There's enough for two," she said. She didn't know why she offered. He sat down at the kitchen island, watched her cook with an intensity that should have been uncomfortable. It wasn't. They ate in silence. The first bite made his eyes widen. Just slightly. Just enough. "This is my mother's recipe." Ada pushed the rice around her plate. She made it every Sunday. Said food was how Igbo women spoke love when words weren't enough. "Igbo, my people, from Nigeria." She took a bite. "I haven't made this in years. Since before." She stopped. "Since before," he prompted. "Since before I became someone who doesn't cook." He nodded, didn't push, just ate. The silence stretched. Comfortable. Strange. You stand outside his door. "There is forkpost." Every night, Ada continued. "For hours. You never go in." "He doesn't want me in." "Have you tried?" "Once." His voice was flat, controlled. He screamed until he couldn't breathe. Hyperventilated so badly he passed out. He set the fork down. "I don't try anymore." Ada absorbed this. "He was in the car. With your wife." "Yes." "He saw it happen." "He won't tell me what he saw. Won't tell anyone." Daeho's hand curled into a fist on the counter. 2 years of specialists. Therapists. Every expert money can buy. Nothing. And you blame yourself. His head snapped up. "You have a scar on your left palm," Ada said quietly. "You touch it when you're making difficult decisions. When you're thinking about him." She met his eyes. "I'm guessing you got it that night." Pulling him from the wreckage. Silence. His jaw worked. The composure that had earned him his nickname. Cracking. Just at the edges. "You see too much," he said finally. "Occupational hazard." She stood. Started clearing dishes. "For what it's worth, he doesn't blame you. You can't know that. I know children." She turned on the water. "I know trauma. And I know the way he watches you when you're not looking. Like he's waiting for something. Permission maybe. Permission to do what? To let you back in." The water ran. Steam rose. She kept her back to him because this conversation needed softness, and she wasn't sure she had any left. "He laughs with you." Daeho's voice was rough. "He hasn't laughed since." A pause. "Since before. He just needs to feel safe. In his body. In his space." She shut off the water. Dried her hands. "Children heal when they feel safe." "Adults," she stopped. "Adults what?" She turned. He'd risen. Moved closer. Close enough that she could smell him. Cedar, something clean, money. "Adults forget how." His eyes held hers. Dark. Searching. She wondered what he saw. You're not safe here. The words landed like a slap. Is that a threat? Her voice was steady. Her pulse wasn't. No. He stepped closer. It's a warning. About what? About me. The air between them thickened, heavy with things neither of them was saying. I don't need protection, Ada said. I know. His hand rose, hesitated near her face, dropped. That's what makes this dangerous. He stepped back, put distance between them like it cost him something. Good night, Ms. Mensah. He was gone before she could respond. Ada stood in the empty kitchen, heart pounding, hands steady. She'd spent years learning to read threats. Kong Dae-ho wasn't a threat. He was something much worse. Saturday. Training. Yin was getting better, faster, more confident. His movements carried intention now instead of hesitation. Good. Ada reset his stance. Again, but this time, add the rotation we learned. He executed it perfectly. Grin up at her. Jinja. She grinned back. You're a natural. Movement at the edge of her vision. Dae-ho, watching from the garden entrance. Still in his suit. Still carved from stone. But his eyes were soft. Just for a moment. Just while watching his son succeed. Just while watching her teach him. Yin saw his father. The grin faltered. Hey. Ada crouched to his level. He's proud of you. You know that, right? Yun's eyes flicked to his father. Back to her. He doesn't know how to show it, she said softly. Some people don't. But I see how he looks at you. Like you're the most important thing in the world. Yin was silent, considering. Then he did something unexpected. He walked toward his father. Ada watched Dae-ho freeze. Watched hope and terror war across his face. Watched him crouch down to his son's level with the careful movements of a man handling something infinitely fragile. Yin reached into his pocket, pulled out a paper crane, pressed it into his father's palm. There's composure shattered. He pulled his son into his arms, held him like he was drowning and Yin was air. His shoulders shook once before he forced them still. Yin didn't pull away. Ada turned, gave him privacy, walked toward the house with her eyes stinging. That night, an envelope appeared under her door. Inside, a photograph. Her, 3 years ago. Lagos. Standing outside the safe house where her unit would die 12 hours later. Handwritten on the back, we found you. Ada's blood went cold. She moved immediately, swept the room for bugs, checked the windows, confirmed all exits. Then she went to find Dae-ho. He was in his study, working late. He looked up when she entered without knocking. They found me. 3 words. She held up the photograph. This arrived tonight. He took it, studied it. His face went still, the dangerous kind of still. How did they get past security? I don't know yet. But you know who they are. Yes. She took a breath. My former handler, the one who sold us out. He runs a cleanup operation now, eliminating loose ends for people who don't want witnesses. I'm the only survivor for my unit. My existence is a threat to his business. Dae-ho set the photograph down. How many people does he have? Unknown. He's connected, well-funded, works with governments. Governments. His voice was flat. I have relationships with governments. This is my problem, not yours. She straightened. I'll leave tonight. Disappear again. They'll follow me and your family. No. The word stopped her cold. You're not leaving. He rose, moved toward her. You're not running. You're not disappearing. He stopped inches away, close enough that she could feel his warmth. You stay, and we handle this. They'll come here. They'll use Yun against me. Let them try. His voice dropped. Deadly. Let them set foot in my city, threaten my house, come for anyone under my protection. His eyes held hers. I've killed for less. I'm not under your protection. Wrong. His hand cupped her cheek. She stopped breathing. You became mine the moment you made my son laugh. His thumb traced her cheekbone. Gentle, possessive, at odds with everything she knew about him. Dae-ho. Say that again. What? My name. His voice was rough, without the formality. Say it again. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't remember why this was dangerous. Dio. Something flickered in his eyes. Hunger. Barely leashed. Now go to bed. He released her. Step back. Tomorrow we plan. Tonight. He turned away. Tonight, I need to think. She should argue. Should insist on leaving. Should maintain professional distance. Okay, she said instead. She left. But at the door she paused. Why? She didn't turn around. Why protect me? You barely know me. Silence. Long, heavy. I know enough. She walked out. Behind her, Deho stared at the photograph. Lagos. 3 years ago. He picked up his phone. Dialed. Director Shin. We have a problem. His thumb traced his scar. And an opportunity. He ended the call. Pulled up his private files. He'd stopped digging into her past. But he hadn't stopped preparing. The people hunting her thought they were tracking a ghost. They were walking into a trap. They just didn't know it yet. The next 2 weeks were preparation. Director Shin swept the estate for security breaches. Found 3. Neutralized them without fanfare. Inside help, she reported. One of the kitchen staff. Paid to deliver the envelope. Where is he now? Ada asked. Shin's silence was answer enough. Ada trained harder. Pushed Yun further. Taught him evasion patterns, situational awareness, how to read a room for threats. If something happens, she told him one afternoon, and I tell you to run, you run. Don't look back. Don't wait for anyone. There's a safe room in the East Wing. You know the code. Yun nodded solemnly. Good. She squeezed his shoulder. You're brave. You know that? Braver than most adults I've known. He tilted his head, questioning. Real bravery isn't being fearless. She crouched to his level. It's being scared and doing the right thing anyway. That's you. Every day. Yin considered this, then pulled out his notebook. Wrote something in careful letters. You too. Ada's throat tightened. Yeah. She managed to smile. Me too. The tension with Deho grew unbearable. He was everywhere. Security meetings. Training sessions. Meals that used to be solitary. His presence filled every room, sucked the air out, left her hyper-aware of every movement he made. They didn't discuss what happened in his study. The touch. The words. The way he'd said mine like it was fact rather than claim. But they both remembered. She caught him watching her across the dining table, his chopstick forgotten, his eyes dark with something she didn't want to name. She caught herself watching back. Tuesday. The security office. Ada reviewed threat assessments while Deho stood at the window, hands clasped behind his back. The pattern suggests they're gathering intelligence, she said. Testing our responses. They'll probe the perimeter before any direct action. How long? 2 weeks. Maybe less. He turned. And then they'll come for me. Probably through Yun. He's the obvious leverage. Something cold flickered across his face. Over my dead body. That's the other option they'll consider. She met his gaze. I can leave. Draw them away. End this without risking. We've had this conversation, and we'll keep having it until you see reason. He moved toward her. Slow. Deliberate. The predator's walk she'd learned to recognize. You want to know what I see? He stopped at her chair. Looked down at her with those impossible eyes. I see a woman who spent so long running she's forgotten she's allowed to stay. That's not. I see someone who thinks she's protecting us by leaving. He leaned down, hands on the armrests, caging her, when the truth is she's terrified of what staying means. I'm not afraid of you. No. His face was inches from hers. You're afraid of wanting to stay, of having something worth losing. His breath was warm on her lips. That's what scares you. She should push him away, should maintain distance, should remember all the reasons this was a catastrophic idea. You don't know what I want. Then tell me. Silence. Thick. Charged. Her hand rose. Found his chest. Pressed flat against his heartbeat. It was racing. The Stone King. Unflappable. Untouchable. His heart was pounding. I want, she stopped. Swallowed. I want to stop running. Then stop. I want. Her voice cracked. I want to be safe. Real safety. Not the kind I manufacture. The kind that exists because someone else is watching my back. I'm watching. His hand covered hers, pressed it harder against his chest. I see you, all of you, and I'm not looking away. His forehead touched hers. She could taste his breath, feel the tremor in his control. Tell me to stop. His voice was wrecked. Tell me, and I'll walk out that door. We'll pretend this never happened. She should say it. Should protect them both. I don't want you to stop. He made a sound, low, broken, hungry, and closed the distance. The kiss was not gentle. It was 2 years of grief meeting 2 years of running. Desperation and relief. The collision of people who'd forgotten they were allowed to want. His hands cupped her face like she was precious. His mouth claimed hers like she was already his. Ada stopped thinking, stopped strategizing, stopped running. She kissed him back. The door crashed open. They broke apart. Deho was already moving, positioning himself between Ada and the threat, one hand reaching for the weapon she knew he kept in his desk. Director Shin stood in the doorway. Her face was pale. Sir, we have a situation. What kind? Shin's eyes flicked to Ada. Back to Deho. A package arrived at the front gate. Addressed to Ms. Minsa. She held up an evidence bag. It contains photographs. Recent ones. Ada went cold. Of what? Shin's jaw tightened. Of your sister, ma'am. In Lagos. She paused. And her daughter. At school. Yesterday. The world tilted. Ada had severed all ties. Disappeared without a word. Made sure no one could trace her back to the only family she had left. She thought they were safe. She'd been wrong. There's a message, Shin continued. Return what was taken, or they die. You have 72 hours. Ada's hands were shaking. She couldn't make them stop. What did you take from them? Deho asked. Information. Her voice sounded far away. When my unit was compromised, I grabbed everything I could. Files. Evidence. Proof of what my handler did and who paid him. She looked at Deho. Insurance. In case I needed to burn him. Where is it? Safe. Hidden. Accessible only by me. Then we trade. The information for your family's safety. He'll kill them anyway. Kill me too. The information exposes too much. She shook her head. This doesn't end with a trade. It ends with me dead and everyone who knows me silenced. Deho's face went cold. The Stone King returning. Then we don't trade. He turned to Shin. Give me everything on the broker. Choi Sung-min. Assets, locations, weaknesses, family if he has any. Sir. And contact our people in Lagos. I want Ada's sister and niece extracted within 6 hours. Safe house. Full protection detail. Money is no object. Shin nodded. Disappeared. Ada stared at him. You can't. The resources alone. Watch me. What? The word tore out of her. Why would you do this? For people you've never met. He crossed to her, cupped her face in his hands. Because they matter to you. His thumbs traced her cheekbones. Because you matter to me. Because, he stopped, his composure cracking. Because I haven't felt anything in 2 years. Since that night. Since losing her. And then you walked into my house and made my son laugh and made me remember that I'm still alive. Dio. I don't know what this is. His voice was raw, honest, terrifying in its vulnerability. But I know I'm not letting you face this alone. I know I'm not letting them take anything else from you. His forehead pressed to hers. I know you're mine, even if you're not ready to hear that yet. She was crying. She didn't know when she'd started. My sister doesn't know about any of this. Her voice broke. She thinks I work in security consulting. Thinks I travel a lot. She doesn't know about the unit, the handler, any of it. She doesn't know people want me dead. Then we make sure she never has to. He pulled back, wiped her tears with his thumbs. 72 hours. That's how long we have. To do what? The Stone King smiled. It wasn't nice. To end this. That night, Ada slipped into Yun's room. He was awake, drawing by lamplight. He looked up when she entered. I need you to know something. She sat on the edge of his bed. Whatever happens in the next few days, I'm not leaving you. I'm not disappearing. You understand? Yin studied her. Too perceptive for 8. He reached for his notebook. Wrote carefully. Promise? Promise. He wrote again. Showed her. It was a drawing. 3 figures. A woman with dark skin. A man in black. A small boy between them. Underneath, in shaky English, family. Ada's heart cracked open. Yeah. She pulled him into a hug. Felt his small arms wrap around her neck. Family. Outside the room, in the shadow of the hallway, Deho watched. His eyes were soft. His hands were not. They were clenched into fists at his sides. The people hunting her thought they were dealing with a ghost. They were about to learn what happened when you threatened the Stone King's family. 48 hours. That's how long it took to extract Ada's sister and niece from Lagos. Deho's people moved like ghosts. One moment, Kayamika and her daughter Adana were living their normal lives. The next, they were on a private jet bound for a safe house in Switzerland, confused but unharmed. Ada watched the confirmation come through on Director Shin's tablet. They're safe, Shin reported. Full security detail. The house is untraceable. Ada's knees nearly buckled. Hey, Deho's hand found the small of her back. Steady. Warm. Breathe. She did. Slowly. Let his presence anchor her. Thank you. The words felt inadequate. I can't. You don't have to. His thumb traced circles against her spine. They're family. That means they're protected. End of discussion. She looked at him. This man who moved mountains for people he'd never met. Who dismantled his legendary composure for a woman he'd known weeks. Why? She whispered. He didn't pretend to misunderstand. Because losing people destroys you. His voice was rough. I know. I've lived it. And I won't watch you go through what I went through. Not if I can prevent it. The strategy session lasted 6 hours. Director Shin laid out everything they knew about the broker. Assets across 12 countries. Government contracts that would never appear on paper. A network of operatives who'd kill for money and disappear for more. He's untouchable through conventional means, Shin concluded. Too many powerful people need him to stay operational. Then we don't use conventional means. Deho studied the tactical map. We use his own playbook. Make him a liability to his clients. Someone who attracts too much attention. Someone who's become more trouble than he's worth. Ow! Ada's insurance files. He looked at her. What exactly do they contain? Ada hesitated. She kept those files secret for 3 years. Leverage she'd never intended to use. Everything. She moved to the display. Transaction records. Communications between Sung Min and the people who hired him. Names, dates, amounts. Proof that 6 different governments paid to have inconvenient people eliminated. Shin's eyes widened. That's a death sentence for everyone involved. Yes. Ada's jaw tightened. That's why he wants me dead. I'm the only copy. The only proof. Deho was quiet. Calculating. We leak it, he said finally. Strategically. To the right journalists. The right agencies. The right enemies of his clients. Make him radioactive. He'll know it came from me. He already wants you dead. This doesn't change that. Deho moved closer. But it does change his resources. His support. His ability to operate. He held her gaze. We don't just stop him. We destroy him. Ada considered. It was risky. Aggressive. Exactly the kind of play that could backfire catastrophically. It was also their best option. The files are in Singapore, she said. A safety deposit box under a false identity. I'd have to retrieve them personally, biometric locks. Then we go to Singapore. You think I'm letting you walk into his territory alone? Deho's voice dropped. Dangerous. You leave this house without me. I'll find you before you reach the airport. And I won't be gentle about bringing you back. Director Shin very carefully studied the ceiling. That's not. It's exactly what I mean. He stepped into her space. That predator's closeness she should hate and didn't. You're not a solo operative anymore. You're not a ghost. You have backup now. Use it. Ada's breath caught. The possessiveness in his voice should have triggered every alarm in her training. Instead, it made her feel safe. Phoenix. She stepped back, put distance between them before she did something unprofessional. We leave tonight. She found Yin in the garden. He was practicing the movements she'd taught him. Focused, deliberate, getting better every day. Hey, she crouched beside him. I need to tell you something. He stopped, waited. I have to go away for a few days. Not long. Your father's coming with me. She kept her voice steady. Director Shin will be here. The security team. You'll be safe. Yun's face crumpled. I'm coming back. She took his hands. I promise. I'm not leaving you. This is just, there are some bad people I need to deal with. So they can't hurt anyone I care about. He pulled out his notebook. Wrote quickly. You care about me? Of course I do. Her voice cracked. She stopped. Started again. You're important to me. Very important. Another note. Like family? Ada thought about the drawing. The 3 figures. The shaky English underneath. Yeah. She pulled him into a hug. Like family. He held on tight. Didn't let go for a long time. The flight to Singapore was 7 hours. Daeho's private jet was obscenely comfortable. All cream leather and polished wood, and staff who disappeared the moment they weren't needed. Ada sat across from him, reviewing security protocols, pretending she wasn't hyper-aware of every breath he took. You're staring, she said without looking up. You're beautiful. Her head snapped up. He watched her with those dark eyes. No pretense, no games, just raw honesty that stripped her defenses bare. Dayo. I know you're not ready. He leaned forward, elbows on knees. I know you have walls I haven't earned my way past yet, but I need you to understand something. She waited. When this is over, when the broker is handled and your family is safe and the threat is neutralized, he paused. His thumb traced his scar. I'm going to pursue you. Properly. Relentlessly. With every resource at my disposal. Pursue me. Court you. Date you. Convince you that staying isn't a death sentence. His voice dropped. Make you understand that you're not just someone I want to protect. You're someone I want to keep. Ada's heart was pounding. That sounds like a threat. It's a promise. He smiled. Dangerous. You've been warned. She should argue. Should explain all the reasons this was impossible. Instead, she smiled back. Consider me warned. Singapore was hot. Humid. Familiar. Ada had operated here before. Different name. Different mission. Same suffocating heat that stuck to your skin like a second layer. The bank was in the financial district. Glass and steel, and the particular silence of serious money. She handled the biometrics alone. Daeho waited in the lobby, looking like exactly what he was, a man who owned things. The safety deposit box was small, unassuming. Inside, 3 flash drives and a sealed envelope. She retrieved them, tucked them into the hidden compartment in her bag, walked out like nothing had changed. Daeho fell in a step beside her. Got them? Yes. Any problems? No. They exited into the Singapore sun. The car was waiting. Everything was going according to plan. That's when Ada's instinct screamed. Stop. She grabbed his arm, pulled him back. The car exploded. Heat. Light. Sound like the end of the world. Daeho moved without thinking, pulling her behind a concrete pillar, shielding her body with his arms caging her against the stone. Debris rained down. Glass shattered. Screams erupted. And then silence. Are you hurt? His hands ran over her, checking for injuries. Professional despite the intimacy. Ada, are you hurt? No. She was shaking. Couldn't make it stop. I'm fine. I'm. His mouth found hers. The kiss was brutal. Desperate. The kiss of a man who just watched someone try to kill the woman he pulled back. Eyes wild. I thought. His voice broke. When I saw the car. I know. She gripped his jacket. Held on. I know. Sirens in the distance. They needed to move. This way. She pulled him toward an alley. Service entrance. I know this area. They ran. The safe house was a cramped apartment in Chinatown. 1 room. 1 bed. 1 shower that barely worked. Daeho swept for bugs while Ada secured the perimeter. They worked in silence. Efficient. Professional. When it was done, they stood on opposite sides of the room. He knew we were coming, Ada said. The broker. He knew about the bank, the timing, everything. We have a leak. Maybe. She paced. Thinking. Or maybe he's better connected than we realized. Has eyes on all my old identities. Either way, we've lost the element of surprise. Yes. She stopped, faced him. This changes things. Ow! The leak approach, it takes time. Time we might not have. She crossed her arms. There's another option. Tell me. I go to him directly. Trade myself for a guarantee on my family. She held up a hand when he opened his mouth. Not surrender. Infiltration. Get close enough to. No, you haven't heard the plan. I don't need to. He moved toward her. That controlled violence in every step. You're not using yourself as bait. You're not walking into his operation. You're not. It's my decision. Wrong. He was close now. Close enough to touch. You became mine the moment I decided you were. That means your decisions are my decisions. Your safety is my responsibility. Your life, his voice cracked. Your life is not yours to throw away. That's not how this works. It's exactly how this works. His hands cupped her face. Fierce. Possessive. I lost my wife. I almost lost my son. I will not lose you. You don't have me. Liar. He kissed her forehead, gentle despite his grip. I've had you since you stayed. Since you chose yin over escape. Since you looked at me like I might be worth trusting. He pulled back, held her gaze. You mine, Ada? Stop fighting it. She should argue. She kissed him instead. My mom said stories like this don't work anymore. That people want easy love, not the dangerous kind. If she's wrong, if you want the kind of romance that makes your chest ache, subscribe now. Because we're just getting started. They didn't make it to the bed, the counter, the wall, whatever surface was closest. 2 years of grief colliding with 2 years of running. Walls crumbling, control shattering. He kissed her like she was oxygen. She held on to him like he was solid ground. When he lifted her, she wrapped around him. When he pressed her against the wall, she pulled him closer. Tell me to stop. His voice was wrecked, desperate. If you don't want this, I want this. She found his mouth again. I want you. He made a sound. Low, broken, hungry. The bedroom door closed behind them. What happened after stayed there. Later, the sheets were tangled. The room was dark. His arm was around her waist, her back against his chest. You're not using yourself as bait, he murmured against her hair. I know. We find another way. I know. And when this is over, his arm tightened. You're not leaving. Not running. Not disappearing. She should feel trapped. Caged. She felt safe. I know, she whispered. Good. He kissed her shoulder. Sleep. I've got you. For the first time in 2 years, she did. Dawn. Ada woke to her phone buzzing. Director Shin's voice was tight. Controlled. Wrong. Ms. Mensah. There's been an incident. Ada sat up. Daeho was already awake. Watching her face. What kind of incident? Silence. Too long. It's Yin, ma'am. Shin's voice cracked. They took him. 2 hours ago. We didn't pause. They left a message. What message? Return what was taken. You have 24 hours. Shin's breath shook. Or they sent him back in pieces. The phone slipped from Ada's hand. Daeho caught her before she fell. But he wasn't looking at her. He was staring at nothing. Face stone. Eyes dead. The Stone King had cracked. And what lived underneath was far, far worse. The jet broke speed records returning to Seoul. Daeho didn't speak. Didn't move. Sat in his seat with the stillness of a corpse, staring at nothing while something terrible happened behind his eyes. Ada watched him from across the cabin. She'd seen men break before. Watched operatives lose their minds to grief, rage, fear. She knew the signs. This wasn't breaking. This was becoming. He's alive. She said it quietly, firmly. They took him for leverage. Dead leverage is worthless. He's alive. No response. Daeho. She crossed him, crouched at his knees, took his cold hands in hers. Look at me. His eyes found hers. Empty. Wrong. I'm going to get him back. She held his gaze. Willed him to hear her. Whatever it takes. Whatever it costs. I'm bringing Yin home. Something flickered, deep beneath the ice. They took him because of me. His voice was a rasp, barely human. They came for my son because I couldn't let you go. No, her grip tightened. They took him because monsters exist, and sometimes they win temporarily. But not this time. Not with him. You don't understand. He pulled his hands free, rose, moved to the window. I saw it. When they took her, my wife, I watched the footage. Over and over, looking for what I missed. What I could have done differently. Ada waited. There was nothing. He pressed his hand against the glass. I did everything right. Had every precaution. And they still got to her. Because no matter how much power you have, you can't protect everyone all the time. Dio. I failed her. He turned. His eyes were wet. The Stone King crying. I can't fail him too. Ada crossed to him, took his face in her hands. You didn't fail her. You didn't fail him. She held him when he tried to look away. And we're not going to lose him. You hear me? We're going to get our son back. She didn't realize what she'd said until the words were out. Our son. His breath caught. His hands found her waist. Pulled her close. Say that again. Our son. She didn't flinch. Didn't take it back. He's ours. And we're getting him back. He kissed her. Desperate. Grateful. Broken. We pulled back. The ice was gone. In its place was something harder. Colder. More dangerous. Then let's plan. The estate was a crime scene. Director Shin met them at the entrance. Her face was gray. Hollow. The guilt was eating her alive. Report. Daeho's voice was steel. 3 operatives came through the service entrance. Disabled the cameras, neutralized 4 guards. Shin's jaw tightened. They knew exactly where he slept. Exactly when to move. In and out in 7 minutes. Casualties, 2 of ours. 3 household staff. She paused. Mrs. Park is in critical condition. She tried to stop them. Ada closed her eyes. The old housekeeper. The one who left tea outside her room. Then sideman. Daeho asked. We found him. Dead. They cleaned up their asset before leaving. Shin handed over a tablet. They left this in Yun's room. The video played. Yun, tied to a chair. Eyes wide with terror. Alive but shaking. A voice off camera. Cold. Familiar. The broker's accent. Refined, educated, deadly. Ms. Mensa, you have something that belongs to me. I have something that belongs to you. I propose an exchange. Tomorrow. Midnight. The location will be sent 4 hours prior. Come alone. Bring the files. And perhaps young Yun here will see his 8th birthday. The video ended. Ada's hands were steady. Her heart was not. It's a trap, she said. Obviously, he'll kill Yun regardless. Kill me too. The exchange is just theater. I know. Daeho took the tablet. Studied the video. Which is why we're not playing by his rules. The war room became command central. Daeho's resources were terrifying. Private military contractors. Intelligence assets embedded in a dozen countries. Tech specialists who could crack any system. All of it mobilized in hours. All of it pointed at one man. The broker operates out of 3 locations. Director Shin pulled up the display. Jakarta, Hong Kong, and here, a private compound outside Busan. Busan's closest. Ada studied the layout. Probable holding location for Yun. But it's a fortress. Private security. Anti-aircraft capabilities. He built it to withstand an army. Then we don't send an army. Daeho moved to the display. We send ghosts. Ada understood. Infiltration. Small team. Surgical. You lead. He held up a hand when she protested. You know his playbook. His security protocols. How he thinks. His jaw tightened. And you're the only one who might get close enough before they realize. They'll kill me on sight. Not if you're offering what he wants. Daeho handed her a drive. The files. Real ones. Verified, authentic. You want me to actually bring the leverage? I want you to bring a Trojan horse. He smiled. Cold. Dangerous. The files are real, but they're also tagged. The moment they're accessed, we'll have a location of every device they touch. Every network they connect to. Every secret he's hiding. Ada stared at him. That's ruthless? Calculated? Exactly how he operates. Dio stepped closer. I learned from the best. He just didn't realize he was teaching me. The team assembled at midnight. 8 operatives. The best Aho's money could buy. Silent, deadly, loyal. Ada briefed them in the armory. Primary objective, extract the boy. Secondary, neutralize the broker. Tertiary, scorched earth. No weaknesses. No survivors. No mercy. The operatives nodded. Professionals. Rules of engagement. There are none. Ada checked her weapons. 2 handguns. For knives. Enough ammunition to start a war. They took a child. Everything else is negotiable. Deho watched from the doorway. She crossed him, touched his face. I'm bringing him home. I know. He covered her hand with his. That's not what I'm worried about. Then what? You. His thumb traced her wrist. Her pulse. Losing you would break me. Permanently. You're not losing me. Promise. She should hedge. Should maintain operational realism. Should acknowledge the very real chance she might not walk out. I promise. She kissed him. Soft. Brief. Full of everything she couldn't say. Wait for me. She walked out before he could respond. Behind her, his voice carried. Always. The compound was exactly as predicted. Walls. Guards. Motion sensors. Everything designed to keep the world out. Nothing designed for someone who'd already been inside. Ada moved through the darkness like smoke. The outer perimeter fell in 7 minutes. Guards disabled. Cameras looped. Alarms neutralized. Her team followed. Ghost trailing a ghost. The main house was massive. Colonial architecture hiding military hardware. She'd seen the blueprints. Memorized every corridor. Yun was in the basement. She was certain. That's where the broker kept his leverage. She found him on the 3rd sublevel. Yun was still tied to the chair. Still shaking. But alive. His eyes found hers across the concrete room. She pressed a finger to her lips. He nodded. Brave. So brave. That's close enough. The broker stepped from the shadows. Choi Sung-min looked exactly like Ada remembered. Tall. Lean. Silver hair swept back. The kind of face that belonged on magazine covers, not intelligence briefings. Adora. He smiled. Warm. Wrong. You came alone. I am touched. I came for the boy. Yes, I assumed. He circled the chair. One hand on Yun's shoulder. Possessive. Threatening. You always did have a soft spot for innocence. It's your greatest weakness. Let him go. You can have me. The files. Whatever you want. What I want. He leaned close to Yun. Whispered something that made the boy flinch. Is everything you took from me. My reputation. My business. My future. He straightened. But mostly I want you to understand what it feels like to lose everything. Before I kill you. Then you understand we're the same. His smile flickered. How so? You took everything from me first. Ada stepped closer. My unit. My identity. My ability to trust. Another step. And now you're threatening the only family I've left. Touching. But here's the difference. She stopped. 3 feet away. You think I came alone? His smile vanished. The walls exploded. The extraction took 9 minutes. Ada cut Yun free while her team neutralized the guards. The boy clung to her neck, face buried in her shoulder, not crying but shaking uncontrollably. I've got you. She carried him toward the exit. You're safe. It's over. I've got you. Behind her, the broker was screaming orders. His security was crumbling. His fortress was falling. He raised his weapon. Aimed at her back. You think this ends anything? His voice cracked. I have resources you can't imagine. People who will. The shot came from the doorway. The broker fell. Deho stood in the entrance. Gun smoking. Eyes cold. You threatened my son. He walked toward the body. Looked down at the man who'd caused so much destruction. That ends everything. Ada stared at him. You were supposed to stay. I was never staying. He crossed to her. To Yun. His arms wrapped around them both. I was always coming. You made a sound. A sobi. A word. A bog. Father. The first word he'd spoken in 2 years. Deus composure shattered. He held his son and wept. The compound burned behind them. Ada watched the flames from the helicopter. Yin was asleep on her lap. Daeho's hand was in hers. "It's over," she said. "Yes. What happens now?" He looked at her, at Yin, at the family they'd somehow become. "Now we go home." Home. The word felt foreign. Impossible. She looked at the sleeping boy, at the man who'd burned the world to keep her safe. Yeah. She leaned into him, let herself rest. Home. The Stone King would crack. Not from attack, but from surrender. And when he fell completely. 2 weeks apiece. The estate healed. Staff returned. The garden bloomed with flowers Ada had quietly planted. Yin was speaking again. Not constantly. Recovery wasn't linear, but words emerged. Small ones at first. Hungry. Tired. Ada. Then, one morning at breakfast, "Can we train today?" Daeho nearly dropped his coffee. Ada smiled. Always. The domestic rhythm surprised her. Mornings, training with Yun, watched by Daeho from the garden entrance. Afternoons, security reviews, intelligence briefings, the quiet work of running an empire. Evenings, dinner together, the three of them like a family that had always been. Nights. Nights were hers and Daeho's. She'd moved into his room without discussion. Her clothes appeared in his closet. Her tea appeared on his nightstand. The knife under her pillow stayed, but now his arm was around her waist too. She slept through the night now. Every night. "You're different." Director Shin found her in the security office, reviewing patrol schedules. Ada looked up. "How so?" "Softer." Shin's mouth quirked. "Still terrifying, but softer." "I'm not sure that's a compliment. It's an observation." Shin sat across from her. "He's different too." Actually smiles now. The staff are unsettled. The Stone King smiling. Apocalyptic. Exactly. Shin paused. "You're good for him. For both of them." Ada set down the tablet. "Is there a but coming?" "No but." Shin's gaze was steady. "Just don't break him. He's already been broken once. I don't think he'd survive it again. I have no intention of." "Good." Shin rose. "Also, he's planning something. The vault access logs show unusual activity. He's hiding something from you." She left before Ada could respond. That night, Ada found the vault access logs herself. Shin was right. Daeho had accessed the family vault 6 times in the past week. Unusual for a man who'd avoided it since his wife's death. She didn't ask. She trusted him. But she wondered. The peace shattered on a Thursday. Ada was training Yun when her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She ignored it. It buzzed again. She checked. A single message. "The broker is dead, but his clients are not, and they have long memories." She went cold. The attack came that night. Not the compound this time. Not their territory. They hit Daeho's corporate headquarters downtown. A bomb. Massive. Taking out 6 floors and everyone in them. 43 dead. Hundreds injured. And a message delivered to every news outlet in Korea. "The Kong Empire is built on blood. We are here to collect the debt." Daeho watched the news coverage from his study. His face was stone. His hands were steady. But Ada knew him now, saw the cracks beneath the surface. This isn't over. She stood beside him. The broker was just a tool. His clients, the governments he worked for, they're the real threat. "I know. They're not going to stop. Not until they've destroyed everything you've built." "I know. So what do we do?" He turned off the screen. Looked at her. "We disappear." The plan was elegant. Brutal. Final. Daeho would fake his death. Transfer his assets to blind trusts. Relocate with Yun to a location so secure it didn't appear on any map. "And you?" Ada asked. "You're coming with us." "I can't just." "You can." He took her hands. "You will. Because I'm not doing this without you. None of it means anything without you." She should argue. Should point out the logistics, the risks, the complications. She kissed him instead. But the enemies moved faster. The second attack hit the estate. Ada heard the explosions from Yun's room. Grabbed the boy. Ran. The safe room. East wing. She knew the code. But the hallway was blocked. Fire. Smoke. Chaos. This way. She pivoted. Service corridor. Secondary route. Yin clung to her hand. Running. Trusting. They burst into the garden. The night air was cold, sharp, and full of operatives. Ms. Mensa. The leader stepped forward. Professional. Cold. No visible markers. Government deniability. You're coming with us. The boy too. Over my dead body. That can be arranged. Ada pushed Yin behind her. 6 operatives. 2 exits. No weapons. She'd been in night clothes. No time to arm. The odds were impossible. She calculated anyway. Yin. Her voice was calm. Steady. Remember what I taught you. When I move, you run. Don't look back. Ada. Promise me. His hand squeezed hers. Small. Trusting. I promise. She exploded into motion. The fight was brutal. Brief. Ada was good. One of the best. But 6 against 1, unarmed, protecting a child. She took down 3 before they overwhelmed her. The last thing she saw was Yun running for the tree line, legs pumping, not looking back. Good boy. Brave boy. Then the world went dark. Daeho found the aftermath. 3 bodies. Ada's blood on the grass. And no Ada. Yin was in the tree line, hidden exactly where Ada had taught him. Shaking but unharmed. Where is she? Daeho crouched beside his son. Yin, where did they take her? I don't know. The boy's voice shattered. She told me to run. She told me. Daeho pulled him close. Held him tight. Over his son's shoulder, his eyes found Director Shin. Find her. His voice was ice. Death. Whatever it takes. Whoever has to die. Find her and bring her home. Shin nodded. Daeho looked at the blood on the grass. She'd promised she would come back. He would make sure she kept that promise, even if he had to burn the world to do it. In a facility 300 kilometers away, Ada woke to chains. Concrete floor, industrial lighting, the particular smell of places designed for one purpose, making people disappear. She tested the restraints. Professional, military grade, not getting out of these easily. Footsteps approached. A door opened, and a face she recognized stepped into the light. Hello, Ada. The man smiled. Gray hair, weathered face, kind eyes that didn't match the setting. It's been a long time. Her blood froze. Director Chun, her former handler's superior, the man who ran the agency that trained her, the man who signed off on missions that never officially happened. I hear you've been causing problems. He pulled up a chair, sat across from her, made some powerful people very uncomfortable, killed one of our most valuable assets. He sold out his team. He was following orders. Shin leaned forward. My orders. Every death in that unit, authorized, sanctioned, necessary for the greater good. Ada's stomach dropped. You killed them, not the broker. You. I eliminated liabilities, just like I'm going to eliminate you. He smiled. Unless you give me what I want, which is the files, the real ones, all of them. His smile widened. And the calm boy. He saw things he shouldn't have during the extraction. He's a liability now, too. No, you're not in a position to negotiate. You think change who I am. Ada met his eyes, held them. I will die before I give you Yun. I will die before I betray that family. You can torture me, kill me. It doesn't matter. Some things are worth dying for. Chin studied her, long, thoughtful. I believe you. He rose. Unfortunately for you, dying won't be quick. And I'm very patient. He walked toward the door. One more thing. He paused. The concierge. He's coming for you. We're counting on it. This facility is a trap. The moment he arrives, we take everything. His empire, his son, his life. Ada's heart cracked. You won't touch him. I already have. Chin smiled. You should have stayed a ghost, Ada. Love makes you visible, and visibility gets people killed. The door closed behind him. Ada stared at the ceiling. Daeho was coming, walking into a trap. Because of her, she had to warn him, had to escape, had to save the only family she had left. The chains cut into her wrists. She pulled anyway. 300 kilometers away, Daeho watched the tracker blink. The ring. His mother's ring. The one Yin had given Ada. The one she never took off. It had a transmitter, a precaution, a paranoid contingency. Thank God for paranoia. I have her location. He looked at his assembled team. 20 operatives. The best in Asia. They think I'm walking into a trap. They're wrong. He pulled up the facility layout. They're walking into mine. The people hunting her didn't know what they'd walked into. They thought she was alone. They were wrong. The facility was a black site. No official designation. No paper trail. The kind of place governments pretended didn't exist while using it to make problems disappear. Daeho had seen the blueprints, memorized every corridor, knew exactly where they were keeping her. Sublevel 3, Cell Block C, the section reserved for high-value assets. She was alive. She had to be alive. Sir, Director Shin's voice was steady in his earpiece. Thermal imaging shows 42 hostiles. Heavy armament. They're expecting you. Good. Daeho checked his weapon. Let them expect. The extraction team is in position. North and south entrances. Awaiting your signal. He looked at the building. Concrete and steel and all the cruelty humans could devise. Ada was in there. Bleeding. Hurting. Waiting. Signal them. The night exploded. Inside her cell, Ada heard the first blast. Distant. Muffled. But unmistakable. He came. She told him not to. Knew it was a trap. Knew they were waiting. He came anyway. Stupid, stubborn, beautiful man. She pulled at her chains again. The metal had cut through skin hours ago. Blood made her wrists slick. Usable. She twisted. Pulled. Felt bone grind against restraint. Dislocating her thumb would give her the clearance she needed. She'd done it before. Could do it again. For him. For Yun. For the family she'd never expected to have. She braced herself. Pulled. The joint popped. Pain screamed through her arm. But her hand slipped free. Daeho moved through the facility like death itself. His team handled the perimeter. Drew fire. Created chaos. He moved alone through the interior. Silent. Focused. Every step bringing him closer. 2 guards at the stairwell. He dropped them before they saw him. 3 more in the corridor. Same result. His hands were steady. His heart was not. Sublevel 2. Sublevel 3. Cell Block C. The door was reinforced steel. Biometric lock. He attached the bypass device. 30 seconds. 29. 28. Footsteps behind him. He turned. Fired. The operative dropped. 20 seconds. More footsteps. Running now. They knew where he was. 15 seconds. He pressed his back against the wall. Reloaded. 10 seconds. The first wave rounded the corner. He dropped 3 before they could aim. 5 seconds. The lock clicked. He shouldered through the door. The cell block stretched before him. 6 doors. All closed. Ada. His voice echoed. Ada. Silence. He moved to the first door. Empty. Second. Empty. Third. Movement behind him. He spun. Director Chun stood at the entrance. Weapon raised. Smile cold. Mr. Kong. We've been expecting you. Where is she? Safe. For now. Chun gestured with the gun. But that can change. Weapons down. Slowly. Dial calculated. Distance. Angles. Odds. Bad. All of them bad. He lowered his weapon. The files. Chun moved closer. Where are they? Secure. Not good enough. The gun pressed against Daeho's forehead. Let me be more specific. Give me the files, or I put a bullet in your brain and take your son next. If you could find my son, you wouldn't need me. Chen's smile flickered. A temporary obstacle. No. Daeho's voice was ice. A permanent one. Yun is somewhere you'll never reach. Protected by people you can't buy. Every contingency planned. Every scenario covered. He met Chen's eyes. You've already lost. You just don't know it yet. Brave words for a man with a gun to his head. I've had worse. Chen studied him. Long calculating. You really love her. It wasn't a question. The asset. Our runaway operative. You actually. She has a name. Daeho's voice dropped. Dangerous. And she's not yours. She was never yours. She was trained by us. Shaped by us. Everything she is She made herself. Despite you. In spite of you. His jaw tightened. And she's going to watch me kill you. That's not a threat. It's a prophecy. Chen laughed. You're in no position to. The blade came from behind. Silent. Fussed. Precise. Chen's eyes went wide. His gun dropped. He looked down at the knife protruding from his chest. He's right. Ada's voice was calm. Cold. You never owned me. She twisted the blade. Chun fell. Daeho stared at her. She was a wreck. Blood-soaked clothes. Swollen wrist held at a wrong angle. Bruises blooming across her face. She was the most beautiful thing he'd ever seen. Ada. Her smile was tired. Real. You came. Of course I came. He crossed to her. Cupped her face with trembling hands. I'll always come. Every time. No matter what. It was a trap. I know. They could have killed you. They could have tried. His forehead pressed to hers. Nothing was stopping me. Nothing. You understand? Not armies. Not governments. Not God himself. She laughed. Broken. Beautiful. That's either romantic or insane. Both. He kissed her. Gentle despite the urgency. Careful of her injuries. It's both. You've been through the tension. The separation. The fear. But the reunion is here. If this story has had you holding your breath, subscribe now. My mom's still watching, and the best part is almost here. Let's finish this together. The extraction was chaos. Daeho's team had secured the perimeter, but reinforcements were coming. They had minutes. Maybe less. Can you walk? He kept his arm around her waist. Took her weight. I can run if I have to. You don't. I've got you. They moved through the corridors. Bodies littered the floor. His team's work efficient and thorough. The files. Ada's voice was strained. Chen wanted them. There are others who will want them too. Already handled. He guided her toward the exit. Leaked to every major news outlet 6 hours ago. Every government Chen worked for is in full damage control. They're too busy protecting themselves to come after us. She stumbled. He caught her. You leaked them. Every single file. Names, dates, bank transfers. The whole network is burning. He helped her over a fallen beam. By morning, they'll be too busy betraying each other to remember we exist. She laughed. Disbelieving. That's brilliant. I had time to plan. His voice softened. While I was going insane, waiting for the tracker to go live. The ring. She looked at her hand. The gold band's still there despite everything. You tracked the ring. My mother's ring. Given to the woman, he stopped. Swallowed. We need to keep moving. The woman you what? Later. But his arm tightened around her. I'll tell you later. The helicopter was waiting. His team provided cover as they ran. Gunfire behind them. Shouts. Chaos. But they were almost there. Almost free. Almost. Ada's legs gave out. No. She fought to stand. No, I can. He lifted her. Didn't slow down. Carried her the remaining distance. I've got you. His breath was ragged. I've got you. I've got you. The helicopter doors opened. He climbed inside. Laid her on the medical stretcher. Go. He pounded the wall. Go now. The rotors roared. The ground fell away. And they were flying. Ada looked up at him. He was covered in blood. Most of it not his. His hands were still shaking where they gripped hers. You came, she whispered again. I came. They could have killed you. They didn't. But they could have. Ada. He leaned close. His eyes bright with tears he wouldn't shed. I have killed for less than what I feel for you. And I would do far worse to keep you. Do you understand? There is nothing I wouldn't do. No line I wouldn't cross. No law I wouldn't break. You are everything. Everything. She reached up, touched his face. I love you. The words slipped out. Quiet. Simple. True. His breath stopped. I love you, she said again. Stronger. I didn't want to. Try not to. Failed completely. Her thumb traced his cheekbone. You're stuck with me now. You and Yun. My family. He kissed her hand. Her palm. Her wrist. Say it again. I love you. Again. I love you, Kong Daeho. She smiled through exhaustion. Through pain. Through hope. I love you. I love you, son. I love the home we're building, and I'm never running again. He pressed his forehead to hers. Good. His voice cracked. Because I'm never letting you go. The helicopter flew through the dawn. Toward home. Toward Yun. Toward the life they'd fought for. Together. In the distance, the facility burned. Director Chun was dead. His network was exposed. His clients were scattering. The war was over. The family had won. Back at the estate, Yin watched the sun rise from his window. He held a paper crane in his hands. The one Ada had made him the first day. She's coming home, Director Shin said from the doorway. They both are. Yin didn't speak, but he smiled. And for the first time in 2 years, he felt like maybe, just maybe, everything was going to be okay. The estate had never looked more beautiful. Dawn light spilled across the gardens. The flowers Ada had planted swayed in the morning breeze. The walls stood strong. The gates stood guarded. Home. The helicopter touched down on the private pad. Medical staff rushed forward. Daeho waved them back. I've got her. He lifted Ada from the stretcher, carried her across the grounds, through the doors, into the house that had become theirs. She should protest, should insist she could walk. She let him carry her instead. Some surrenders were worth making. Yin was waiting in the entrance hall. He stood perfectly still, paper crane clutched in his hands, eyes wide with hope and fear and everything in between. Ada, her name, in his voice, clear and strong and certain. Hey, brave boy. Her eyes stung. Told you I'd come back. Daeho set her down carefully, kept one arm around her waist. Yin didn't move. It's okay, Ada said softly. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I promise. He broke. The boy launched himself across the hall, slammed into her legs, arms wrapped tight around her waist, face buried in her stomach. Don't leave. The words were muffled. Desperate. Don't ever leave. Promise. Promise you won't leave. Ada sank to her knees, ignored the pain, pulled him close. I promise. She kissed his hair. I promise. I promise. I am staying forever. You're stuck with me. Forever. Forever and ever. She looked up at Daeho. Both of you. Stuck with me forever. Daeho knelt beside them. His arms came around them both. The three of them tangled together on the marble floor. A family. Broken pieces that somehow fit. The doctor insisted on a full examination. Ada's wrist was fractured from the self-dislocation. 3 ribs cracked. Extensive bruising. Mild concussion. You should be in a hospital, the doctor said. I'm home. Ada didn't move from the bed. From Daeho's bed. Their bed. That's better than any hospital. The doctor looked at Daeho. She stays, Daeho said. Whatever equipment you need, we'll get it. Whatever specialists, we'll fly them in. But she stays. The doctor nodded, wise enough not to argue with the Stone King. Yin refused to leave her side. He sat on the bed, drew pictures, showed her each one. A house with flowers. 3 people holding hands. A paper crane with wings spread wide. That's us, he explained. Flying. Together. It's beautiful. Ada traced the lines with her finger. You're getting so good. Ada taught me. He looked at her seriously. You teach me everything. Her heart cracked open. Again. Still. You taught me too, she said softly. More than you know. Daeho watched them from the doorway. The woman he loved. The son who was finally healing. The family he'd never expected to have again. Director Shin appeared beside him. The cleanup is complete, she reported quietly. Shin's network is dismantled. His clients are too busy covering their own tracks to pursue this further. The threat is neutralized, and the leaks spreading. Every major outlet is running the story. 3 governments have already issued denials, which means everyone believes it. She paused. You destroyed an entire shadow network in 48 hours. I had motivation. Shin followed his gaze to the bed, to Ada, to the way Yin leaned against her like she was the only solid thing in the world. She's good for you, Shin said. She's everything. The words came out before he could stop them. I didn't know I was dead until she made me feel alive again. Shin was quiet for a long moment. Your mother's ring, she finally said. The one you gave her. You placed the tracker in it 3 weeks ago. Before any of this happened. Yes. You were already planning to keep her. Even then, Daeho didn't answer. He didn't have to. That night, after Yin finally fell asleep in the adjoining room, Daeho sat on the edge of the bed. Ada was propped against pillows. Bandaged. Bruised. Beautiful. I need to tell you something. She reached for his hand. Sounds serious. It is. He laced his fingers through hers. When I ran your background check, the first one before I stopped the investigation, I found something. Her hand tensed in his. Not about you, he clarified. About me. About my wife's death. Silence. Waiting. The assassination wasn't random. It was targeted. Someone paid for it specifically. His thumb traced circles on her palm. The payment was routed through the same network Chen ran. The same network you exposed. Ada's breath caught. Dayo. I spent 2 years trying to find who killed her. 2 years of dead ends. And then you walked into my house with the answers hidden in files you didn't even know you had. I didn't know. I know. He lifted her hand. Kissed her knuckles. I'm not telling you this because I blame you. I'm telling you because I need you to understand. Finding you was an accident. It wasn't coincidence. It was fate. Justice. His eyes met hers. You gave me the answers I needed to bury her properly. To give Yin closure. To finally, his voice cracked. To finally let her go. Ada sat up, ignored the pain, cupped his face in her hands. You loved her. I did. And now I love you. Simple, certain, complete, differently, not less, just different. She was my past, my first attempt at happiness. He turned his face, kissed her palm. You're my future, my last chance at everything. Dayo. Marry me. The words hung between them. Not a question, a statement, a declaration. Marry me, he said again. Not because I'm afraid of losing you. Not because of the danger or the threats or any of it, but because I can't imagine another day without knowing you're mine. Completely. Permanently. In every way that matters. Ada stared at him. 2 years ago, she'd been a ghost. Running. Hiding. Trusting no one. Now she was here. In his bed. In his arms. In his life. Home. Yes. His breath stopped. Yes. Yes. She laughed. Tears streaming. Yes, I'll marry you. Yes, I'll stay. Yes, I'll be yours. He kissed her before she could finish. The kiss was different from all the others. Not desperate. Not hungry. Not driven by fear or danger or adrenaline. It was a promise. A vow. A beginning. She woke to small hands shaking her shoulder. Ada, wake up. She opened her eyes. Yin stood beside the bed. Early morning light streaming behind him. What's wrong? Nothing. He grinned. That bright, real smile she'd fallen in love with. A BOG says come to the garden. Says it's important. She looked at Daeho's side of the bed. Empty. What's he planning? Secret. Yin grabbed her hand. Come on. Come on, come on. She let him pull her up. Winced at the movement, but followed anyway. The garden was transformed. Flowers everywhere. White fabric draped through the trees. Chairs arranged in neat rows. And people, Director Shin, Mrs. Park, the household staff, even the security team, all seated and waiting. Ada stopped breathing. Daeho stood at the center. He wore a traditional hanbok, black and elegant. His face was soft in a way she'd never seen in public. His eyes found hers across the garden. What is this? She whispered. Yin squeezed her hand. A wedding. Duh, but I'm not. I don't have. Mrs. Park appeared beside her, held up a garment bag. Mr. Kong had it made, the old woman said. Her eyes were wet. Traditional Korean hanbok. But the pattern, she unzipped the bag. The pattern is Nigerian. He had it researched, made sure it was right. The hanbok was beautiful, deep red with gold accents. Adinkra symbols woven into the fabric. 2 cultures merged into one garment. Ada couldn't speak. You don't have to, Mrs. Park said gently. If you're not ready. I'm ready. The words came out fierce. Certain. I've been ready since he carried me out of that facility. Mrs. Park smiled. Then let's get you dressed. She walked down the aisle on her own feet. No one to give her away. No one to lean on. Just her, walking toward the man who'd burned the world to save her. Yin walked beside her, holding her hand, their ring bearer and her anchor. Daeho watched her approach. His composure cracked. Tears streamed down his face. The Stone King, weeping at his own wedding. She'd never loved him more. The ceremony was simple. Korean traditions woven with Nigerian ones. A hanbok and adinkra symbols. Soju and palm wine. Bowing and jumping the broom. Two worlds becoming one. When the officiant asked for vows, Daeho spoke first. I was dead before you. His voice was steady despite the tears. I didn't know it, but I was. You walked into my house pretending to be invisible, and you're the only thing I could see. He took her hands. I don't need you to be safe. I need you to be mine. Forever. Starting now. Ada's throat closed. I stopped running the moment your son laughed. She gripped his hands. Held on. I just didn't know it yet. You taught him to trust again. You taught me to stay. And you, her voice broke. You taught me that home isn't a place. It's a person. Two people. Standing in a garden. Choosing each other. Forever. Forever. He kissed her before the officiant gave permission. No one objected. The reception lasted until midnight. Dancing. Laughter. Yin falling asleep in Ada's lap while the adults celebrated around them. Director Shin raised a glass. To the Stone King, who finally melted. To the ghost, someone else called, who finally stayed. Daeho pulled Ada close. To us, he murmured against her ear. To everything that comes next. She leaned into him. Let herself be held. Safe. Loved. Home. Later that night, Yin tucked between them in the master bed. Ada traced patterns on Daeho's chest. I never thanked you, she whispered. For what? For coming after me. For not giving up. For... She gestured at everything. The room. The ring. The boy sleeping peacefully. For this. All of this. He caught her hand. Kissed the ring on her finger. You gave me my son back. You gave me a reason to feel again. His eyes held hers in the darkness. Everything I did, everything I risked, it wasn't enough. Could never be enough. It was everything. Then we're even. She smiled. Close her eyes. Let sleep take her. For the first time in 2 years, she dreamed. Good dreams. Dreams of gardens and paper cranes and a family she never expected. Dreams of home. 6 months later, the estate in Songnam had transformed. Gardens bloomed with flowers from 2 continents, Korean chrysanthemums beside Nigerian hibiscus. The hallways echoed with laughter instead of silence. The kitchen smelled like jollof rice and kimchi jjigae, sometimes at the same time. Ada stood at the window, watching Yun practice in the garden. His movements were fluid now, confident. The trembling boy she'd met was gone, replaced by someone who stood tall and spoke clearly and laughed without hesitation. She'd done that. They'd done that. Together, arms wrapped around her from behind. Watching our son, Daeho's voice was warm against her ear. Our son. She'd never tire of hearing it. He's getting good. Better than I was at his age. He has an exceptional teacher. He kissed her neck. Speaking of which, Shin has news. Good or bad? Good. The last of Chin's network was dismantled yesterday. Every client, every operative, every connection. He tightened his arms. It's over. Completely. Ada breathed. For months, she'd been waiting for the other shoe to drop. For new threats to emerge. For the past to catch up again. But it hadn't. It was actually over. My sister called this morning, she said. Chi-Chi and Adana want to visit. For Yun's birthday. They're welcome. They're family. He turned her to face him. Speaking of family. Dayo. Director Shin also had other news. His eyes sparkled. Actually sparkled. The Stone King giddy. The adoption paperwork cleared. Officially. Legally. He pulled out a document. Yun is yours. Permanently. Ada's legs gave out. He caught her. Of course he did. She couldn't breathe. He's yours. Ours. forever. He kissed her forehead. Congratulations, Alma. Alma, mother. Yin appeared in the doorway. What's happening? Why is Ada crying? He rushed forward. Are you hurt? Is someone? Happy tears. She pulled him into her arms. Only happy tears. Oh. He relaxed. Hugged her back. Why? Because she looked at Daeho. At the papers. At the life she'd somehow stumbled into. Because you're officially mine now. The papers say so. Yin pulled back. His eyes wide. You mean, you're my son? Legally. Permanently. She cupped his face. If you want that. If you're okay with. Ada. He said her name like a prayer. You've been my mom since the first day. The papers are just, he waved his hand. Details. She laughed. Cried. Pulled him close again. Over his head, she met Daeho's eyes. He was crying too. The Stone King. Weeping in his garden. Surrounded by his family. Perfect. That night, they had dinner together. The three of them around the table that used to seat one. Jollof rice and bulgogi, and too many side dishes to count. Yin talked about his training. About school. About the friend he'd made who also liked origami. Can he come over? He asked. For my birthday? Of course. Ada passed him more rice. Invite anyone you want. Even Director Shin. Especially Director Shin. She'd be offended if you didn't. Yin grinned. Went back to eating. Under the table, Daeho's hand found Ada's. She laced her fingers through his. Squeezed. Home. Later, after Yin was asleep, they stood on the balcony. Seoul glittered below them. A city of millions, all with their own stories. I have something for you, Daeho said. You've given me everything already. Not quite. He pulled out a small box. This was my mother's. The ring, you already have that. But this was hers too. He opened the box. A necklace. Delicate gold chain. A small pendant. Half Korean characters, half a Dinkaris symbol. I had it made, he explained. The Korean means family. The Adinkra means Sankofa. Ada's voice caught. It means go back and get it. Return to your roots. Remember where you came from. I wanted you to have both. He lifted the necklace. Korean and Nigerian. Old family and new. Everything you are, everything we're building. He clasped it around her neck. Together, she touched the pendant. Cool metal against her skin. You taught him to fight, Daeho said softly. You taught me to feel. I'm not letting you go. Not ever. You keep saying that. Because it keeps being true. He pulled her close. I love you, Ada. I love our son. I love this life we're building. And I will spend every day proving it deserves to last. She kissed him. Long, slow. Full of promise. When she pulled back, she smiled. You know what I realized? What? I haven't looked for an exit in months. She laughed. Soft. Wondering. No contingency plans. No escape routes. Just staying. Being here. With you. Is that strange? It's terrifying. She held his gaze. And wonderful. And exactly where I want to be. Somewhere in the house. Yin slept peacefully. No nightmares. Not anymore. He dreamed of gardens and paper cranes and parents who would never leave. He dreamed of family. The Stone King had cracked. Not from attack, but from surrender. And when he fell completely. Into love. Into family. Into the life he never thought he deserved. The ghost had finally stopped running. She'd found her haunting place and made it home. In this city, love found you in the strangest places. Dangerous places. Dark places. But sometimes, if you were brave enough to stay, the darkness became shelter. The danger became protection. And the stranger became everything. If you made it here, heart full and maybe a little breathless, thank you. Thank you for trusting me with 2 hours and a love story. Here's my question. Have you ever wanted something you knew was dangerous? Someone you knew you shouldn't want? Tell me in the comments. I read every one. Remember my mom? She still thinks I should write nice stories. If you're glad I don't, if you want more love that's intense and consuming and slightly unhinged, subscribe. There's someone out there scrolling right now, needing a story exactly like this. You could be the reason they find it. One more thing. Where are you watching from? Drop your city. I love knowing how far these stories travel. Until the next one, take care of your heart. And maybe find yourself someone who looks at you the way Daeho looks at Ada. Like you're worth burning the world for. Like you're home. Across the city, Director Shin closed her laptop. The wedding footage was finally edited. The threat assessment finally clear. Her work, for once, was done. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She should ignore it. Should enjoy the peace. She answered anyway. Director Shin. The voice was smooth. Cultured. Familiar in a way she couldn't place. I hear you specialize in impossible situations. Who is this? Someone who needs a ghost. And I'm told you know where to find them. The line went dead. Shin stared at the phone. Somewhere out there, another story was beginning. She had a feeling she'd be part of it.